Welcome to Jenkins and Jones on the Volume Podcast Network. It is Thursday, July 1st. We've got all kinds of fun shooty hoops to talk about. This is going to be a short episode because the Volume Podcast Network released our long interview with Roy Wood Jr. as a bonus podcast, which if you did not see it, was up yesterday. So go check that out. We had a great time talking to Roy. Today, we're just talking about basketball. As always, Jenkins and Jones is hosted by my good buddies, LeJethro Jenkins, a.k.a. John.
What's up, Bubbas?
Dragonfly Jones, a.k.a. Tyler.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
One day his face is going to fall off, like, onto my screen. Doesn't it just, like, it loses
it's going to get soggy as fuck.
It's just all of a sudden, and then it's, you know.
Like on Indiana Jones and shit. When the motherfucker's face is just melted.
Right.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Melt right off, man.
I'm Mike, a.k.a. Gardy B. And as I said, we're talking about basketball. The Suns got the Clippers out of here with a big win. And holy shit, Chris Paul 41 points.
Jesus.
8 assists, 4 rebounds, no turnovers. He's 36 years old. He scored 31 points in the second half. That was like an all-time holy shit to me.
An all-time finals ticket punching game. Absolutely. Chris Paul balled the fuck out. I saw a stat that, when the Clippers were trying to make it a game and they were like only down by 7, Chris Paul scored 14 of Phoenix's next 16 points. Chris Paul wanted that shit, man. And it's wild. I never thought that he would be like this sympathetic figure that I'm halfway rooting for and shit, but I think I'm there now because especially when that Pat Bev shit happened, when Pat Bev pulled that dirty shit and pushed it from behind, I was like, no, Chris Paul does not deserve that. And I've never felt that way about Chris Paul before.
You can say whatever you want about Patrick Beverley, but you can't say he's running around doing nothing. Because now he's doing something, which was like the dumbest, cheapest shit I've seen in the NBA. Like he was like, you said it best. You had a tweet. You're like, he made Chris Paul into the guy I felt bad for.
Right. Like, how do you out scumbag Chris Paul, bro? Like, how is that even possible? But Pat Bev did it. Pat Bev fucking did it.
What did Chris say to that man? Like, because something like that man didn't just, I mean, he's crazy, but he's not crazy for real. Something had to be done. What do y'all think was done prior?
I don't know. We might need to get some Twitter lip readers on the case. There's a pretty good lip reading community online.
Here's what we know. We know from ESPN shot that he didn't say anything right before he pushed him. Mm-hmm. I believe he absolutely said something, but I think it must have been really sitting on his heart, such that when Chris looked at him for like 3 seconds, it just exploded out of him. And I'm going to go back to what Roy Wood Jr. told us about how to really cut into someone's soul. He didn't say 1, 2, 3 Cancun. He says something like about specifically what's bad about Patrick Beverley as a defender. Or you know what I mean? He gave him something that was like the meanest thing analytics Twitter could have said to Patrick Beverley. He just slipped that shit in his ear halfway through the fourth quarter.
He didn't just say he's going back to the projects. He didn't say nothing like he broke him down for sure. You know what I mean?
We definitely need the scoop on
that. Who are you happiest for on the Suns? And I guess I would take Monty Williams out of the conversation. I think everyone's
rooting for Monty.
Everyone's rooting for Monty. I'm rooting for Monty. But I think it's Chris Paul for me.
Yeah, I mean, Book is too young for us to really be like, oh, he deserves this. He's playing with house money right now, getting to the finals this early in his career. Oh, same for Ayton. It probably is Chris Paul, man. I mean, we had this conversation in the text messages, but we were like, Chris Paul is a real solid guy off the court, right? Like he's a huge philanthropist. He gives back a whole lot. It's just the shit that he does on the court sometimes. You know what I mean? So.
Like that flopping ass shit he did, like that fucking Oscar performance he put on when he got tapped in the fucking eye. Yeah, like I mean he's annoying, but we got to be happy for him. We've enjoyed watching him play basketball for 16 fucking years. He's always been on the other side, of the injury shit. You know what I mean? And now he's on the right side after 16 years. I mean, I'm happy to see him in the finals. We'll see what happens, but.
It says everything about how fucked up the injuries have been this basketball season that Chris Paul is the last dude standing.
Iron Man Chris Paul, right? What the fuck? Right? But like Chris Paul's had some pretty bad fucking breaks, no pun intended, during, his postseason. Like, he had a chance to knock off perhaps the greatest team we've ever seen until he blew his hammy out in that Game 6 versus the Warriors 2018. We thought he might be gone for an extended time during this postseason with the COVID protocol shit, but he beat that. Good for him. But he also had his season ended by fucking Josh Smith. You know what I'm saying? By Josh Smith going superhuman after being up 3-1. Like, he's had some real bad breaks. So I guess I'll feel good for him that he finally made it over that up.
I definitely like listening to him, how emotional he was after the game. Like, I'm full on rooting for Chris Paul because there's just something special about it. He's 36 years old. Think about all the shit we've been talking about with Bron being 37. Like, he's a point guard at 36. It's not like he's never had an injury or a setback. Like you said, like he's healthier, knock on wood, because Lord knows this fucking year, but he's having his healthiest playoffs at 36.
Right. And the shit he said in the post game was like, damn, I wish my wife and kids was down there. I was like, you wholesome 36-year-old. Like,
that got me.
Right? His voice cracked talking about Ayton like Ayton was his child. You know what I mean? When Ayton complimented him and, what he's done for him this year. You know what I mean? Like, I like Chris Paul outside of,
punching dicks. There was a picture of him doing the titty twister to Zubac.
It's so flagrant. Like, it's so weird to say that. I like him outside of him punching dicks.
But I like him outside of his dick attacks.
The way he plays basketball is fun when he's just playing basketball. The extracurricular shit is what's weird.
Except the extracurricular shit with the Clippers crowd tonight. And I'm not the biggest fan of the Clippers in the world. So I really enjoyed, he must have said, yeah, like 30 fucking times, just walking the perimeter of the court, shit talking the entire Staples Center. And I'm going to give you a Long Beach story about Willie McGinnis in high school. Willie McGinnis in a playoff game, his senior year of high school, was dogging the fuck out of a private school called Bishop Amat. Had knocked like 3 dudes out of the game. And at halftime, took his helmet off and walked up into the Bishop Amat stands and challenged the crowd to a fight as a high school senior. Literally, like, fucking bring it on. And the crowd was like, you got it, Willie. Like, that's you, Big Mac.
Okay.
That's some blood sport shit.
That was Chris Paul tonight, bro.
Yeah, that's some blood sport shit. Get Jean-Claude Van Damme to step to that man or something. That's some wild shit, bro. That's some 80s movies villain shit.
Bro, that was the one time that's ever happened. That was some Willie Mack shit. You feel me? Like this, like were you there? Was like
no. I was a little kid. I've heard that from the opposing team's coaches. Is who I've heard that story from. That is not
the reasoning after he already knocked 3 people clean the fuck out.
The reasoning was this is Long Beach.
And high school McGinnis had a Jerry curl. Let's not forget that important detail here. Right? You got this grown ass 17-year-old man boy with a Jerry curl challenging grown ass men.
A Jerry curl in Long Beach means a little more than other places. I feel like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Long Beach.
We have to talk about the single most confounding thing I've ever seen. And we're going to just go ahead and give Booger Boy of the Week to Steve Ballmer. What was the celebration where he was not accidentally touching the crotches of the people sitting on either side of him? He was fishing, yes?
Simultaneously.
Simultaneous crotch grab celebration.
Bro, that is difficult. Like, you have to practice that. There's no way blindly, never doing it before, I'm grabbing 2 crotches at once. That's hard. Think about how, you know what I'm saying? You have to really think and do that shit.
That's a Batman move. You got to be training in the cave for that.
Right. Yeah. For that moment when you know what I'm saying? Like, training in the cave. Yeah. Bro, unreal, dog.
Yeah, somewhere in the office, there's a setup with 3 seats and a mannequin on either side of him, half standing, that he's just working.
And somebody has a clock. He's paying some weirdo to like time it like 0.3 seconds. 0.1 second. You know what I mean? And he finally had it right and unveiled it tonight. You know what I mean? In front of the got it. You know what I mean? And he nailed it. Good for him. Good for Steve. Booker Boy of the Week.
Booker Boy of the Week. God damn, that shit. And the thing is, like, this seems like something he does all the time because his homies were just like, hey, it's just crotch grabbing time.
They were just casually moving his hand away, though. They weren't like, Steve.
Like, yeah.
Steve.
Not in public. Not in public, babe. No, but no, like one of them, the one on the left looked like he was like, oh, like, I'm trying to play this off, but nah. You know what I mean?
The contract states this does not happen with a camera pointed at us.
Oh, man. He took one bump too many, you know what I mean? Old Steve Ballmer.
I think one of the craziest thing about this Suns team to me is Devin Booker was 9 of 23 tonight. Did not have I think if you'd have told me that the Suns were going to win the Western Conference Finals 2 months ago, I would have assumed Devin Booker was averaging 45 points a game, or you know what I mean? Something insane. Didn't really have that great of a series.
He didn't, other than game one. He didn't have a Devin Booker series outside of game one. You know what I mean? But people just stepped up, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it was just a bunch of people who stepped up. Like Morris stepped up and Reggie stepped up for the Clips when they were winning. But they had Paul George foundationally. That they didn't have that tonight.
I mean, it feels like we had this series. We had Ayton win them a game. We had Campaign win them a game. We had Chris Paul, lock the series up. So, Booker's kind of, being mediocre. Didn't really hurt him as much.
Which is crazy. I mean, it's like Jay Crowder, I think, hit 5 threes tonight. Like you said, dudes just stepped up, man. Jay Crowder, John's NBA idol.
What's wild about that to me is I compared myself to Jay Crowder because I'm realistic. Yeah. Y'all said fucking Tim Duncan and all these other niggas. And I still don't believe y'all hit them free throws. I'm gonna let y'all have that shit, nigga. You feel me? But I'm like, these niggas said Tim Duncan and fucking God tier niggas. I am Jay Crowder. I am self-aware. I go to therapy twice a month. I'm comfortable being that nigga. And I'm probably the only nigga on this podcast that can hit free throws, nigga. So like, and I
fuck you. I can hit free throws.
Yeah, free throws is easy money, bro.
Nigga, bro.
Hey,
no.
Producers.
When after the what is this? The Z variant, what the fuck is variant that's out now for COVID? After that is over with, record us shooting free throws and see how this shit look. Because I guarantee, nigga.
I also go to therapy, but I don't pay my therapist to tell me I'm Jay fucking Crowder. How about
that?
I
don't pay him to tell me that either. I came to that because I am self-aware. She didn't have to tell me. She gave me the coping mechanisms for me to figure that shit out, man. You feel what I'm saying? I'm just a regular ass nigga. So, you know what I mean? And I'm fine with that shit. Y'all niggas what would you say you were, Mike? Who was it you said you were?
I said I was as sensitive as Kevin Durant.
Yeah, but you also... KD and fucking Tim Duncan.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we were talking about personality.
We were talking about personality. We were talking about personality.
Right, okay.
We were talking about personality.
Who even knows what Jay Crowder's personality is?
Yeah,
you're the one who said he's you.
You said he's you.
I'm saying, are we talking about the game? And then we were talking, nigga, bro.
You got more personality than almost anyone I know, and you picked fucking Big Show 99 or whoever the fuck, anonymous ass motherfucker.
I know somebody that he thugging out on the side. You feel me? And she said he's very funny. Okay, so maybe I am Jay Crowder, and his personality is solid. All right. It's my little thought friend. She cool as hell.
Before we move on,
give me all the stories, dog. I'll be getting the T-Hot you feel me?
Before we move on from Suns Clippers, we have to have like a postscript on Paul George. And I want to say I've opted out as of like 3 games ago. I've completely opted out of Paul George conversations online because I've never seen anything like this shit. On the one hand, you have the people like me and everyone else who enjoy making fun of Paul George, enjoy the memes and jokes, whatever, who are not acknowledging that the dude had like an epic, like top tier playoff performance on average. On the other side, our Clippers / Paul George fans / Palmdale residents or whatever the fuck, who are like, look at these numbers, his usage rates, his minutes are through all this other shit. It's like, but you have to acknowledge that he also had several games shooting under 25% and like was missing very important free, going 0 for 2 from the free throw line in crunch time. It was here or here. Like there was no in the middle. It was top 5% or bottom. Like I've never seen anything like it. And it's not something you can talk about on twitter.com.
Honestly, they were a Paul George away from winning the series. Because when it was 3-1, it could have been 3-1 Clippers if Paul George was Paul George in the games he wasn't Paul George. You feel what I'm saying? As weird as that sounds, it makes sense with those free throws and things like that. You feel what I'm saying? So that game, 5 could have been the deciding game. They could have been going
if they'd taken 2 and 4.
You know, So I mean, either way, the dude is a fucking solid player. He's rich as shit. It doesn't truly matter what we think. But dog, there is a
it's just confounding.
He's the greatest player at times. Like like what he did in Game 5 was incredible. And then he comes in it's 4 for 11 or 4 for whatever today. Like I think was this another under 25%?
No, he was over 25% today. They did take him out. They did take him out. With 3 minutes left in the game.
Get him out of there.
He couldn't get the record.
Right. Yeah. Only way to keep Bob Cousy's names in the fucking record books. He needs to keep that record. The NBA is making sure of that.
And then, there's been, discussions like, Ty Lue and Boogie have gone to bat saying, all the shit y'all talk on the internet about Paul George, I'm saying y'all take it too far. This shit's not true and all that. And I feel like, of course, that's probably Paul George didn't say anything about that, but it's probably coming from him saying that shit gets to him a bit. And my whole thing is you can't let motherfuckers on the internet know they're getting to you, right? Because what that will do is that'll call off the good people with the conscience, like, okay, maybe I'm wilding a bit with the Paul George show.
I stopped making fun of him after he was talking in the bubble about dealing with depression. I stopped.
Yeah.
But you're not worried about me.
It's not calling off the assholes, though. It only fuels the assholes. You know what I'm saying? To light into you more when they hear that shit like that. So
Twitter ZQ0835 is going crazy right now, heating his ass up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's a great point. That's a great point, man. But I just think like you can't let people see you down bad like that, period. Because shit ain't sweet out here, bro. Mm-hmm. Shit ain't sweet, period. You know what I mean? So you let your loved ones know what time it is and get you a nice solid therapist. You feel what I'm saying? And just share the good times with these motherfucking strangers out here that we don't know even have legs or not. You feel what I'm saying?
He could afford the therapist that tells him he's Kevin Durant. You know what I mean?
You definitely can.
Show.
For sure.
Let's talk about Bucks Hawks 2-2. I actually did not watch the game with the hyperextension, and Tyler successfully convinced me to not watch it. So can you tell me how bad it was?
Thank God there's no tears. It looked like, that knee went away. A knee is not supposed to knee. You know what I mean? But thankfully they're saying, there's no tear, there's no ligament damage, but they're kind of alluding to him not coming back this postseason. Which sucks, but at least we'll get him at full strength next season if that's the case. But just a shitty postseason, man. Like it felt like all the smoke was starting to settle, and it was like, yo, this might be Giannis's year. Giannis might get that ring, that Finals MVP. We might add a ring, a Finals MVP, and 2 MVPs and a Defensive Player of the Year award to a resume of a 26-year-old. Like it's going to be time to have some serious discussions. And now all that shit might be out the window.
It was, as you said, like when the smoke is settled, it was like, it's going to be Giannis, or it's going to be an Atlanta team with Trae Young, or it's going to be the Suns and an aging superstar and Chris Paul, right? Or it's going to be the Clippers, like the historically most impotent franchise in pro sports. And then, Giannis goes away. Trae's hurt. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's just never ending. And someone pointed out on Twitter today, you could literally make a dream team caliber team out of dudes that have missed games in the playoffs this year. Like, it's the worst case scenario. The NBA can say whatever the fuck self-exonerating bullshit they want to say, but I'm just not someone who believes that it's a coincidence time after time after time after time after time when all these dudes go out, even acknowledging that some of it is fluke, someone falling into you or ref, whatever else. It's just like, I had never seen anything like it. So my human monkey brain needs there to be an explanation for it. And I'm blaming the fucking NBA. I don't care if it's right or wrong.
The players made help. They wanted it as well. But it's because of how funding was going to happen, what the owners were going to do if they didn't play, right? When it came to marketing percentages and all that shit, right? And it's like, you're treating these players like they're fucking cattle. You know what I mean? Like they're cattle, bro. Like, you can't do this. You can't have an abbreviated season. You're playing more back-to-backs than ever. And like, dude, we really watched 2 days of games without Kawhi, without fucking Trae, and Giannis gets hurt. So we're really seeing the Bucks and the fucking Hawks without Kawhi, without Trae or Giannis, and the Clippers without Kawhi. Like, 3 out of the 4 players are missing their fucking guy. 3 out of 4 teams. I mean, like, dude, this and they tried to experiment. And it ended up horribly. And they're still pretending like they didn't do anything wrong. Like, this is normal. When everybody's fucking eyes are telling us opposite. Like, it's so wild to me. But, I mean, like I said, the players decided to do this as well. But I just think, like, if they could have really come to a better agreement with the owners and all of that shit, it wouldn't have had to come to this. You know what I mean? But they wanted that. They wanted those Christmas dollars. It was that important. And we see, like, who we're losing now.
Everyone.
Everyone. Like you said, Chris Paul is the last man standing. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. It's the craziest shit ever. Tyler, how do you think the next 3 games go in that series, knowing what we know Wednesday at 1 a.m. Eastern time about the injury situation in the series?
I think if that series has no Giannis and no Trae, I'm probably leaning towards Atlanta. I'm probably leaning towards Atlanta to win that series if that's the case. Of course,
Herder, West Eastern Conference Finals MVP.
Right. It's. I mean, it feels like Coach Bud, might have saved his job because KD was a fucking half an inch away from the 3-point line. But you got to do some coaching now, Bud. And that does not seem to be your strong suit as an NBA coach. You got to do some adjustments, right? You got to maximize some guys who aren't superstars. And I don't know. Nate McMillan, you know what I'm saying? Like at the jump of this series, I was like, there's a tweet out there. I said, I think that the Bucks win this. I think Giannis is the best player in this series. But I said, Nate McMillan versus Bud. I don't know, bro. And Nate McMillan, if that's what it comes down to, McMillan's winning that chess match, I think.
Who are the 2 best teams, the 2 best players in the series outside of Trae and Giannis? Who are the 2 best players in the series?
I'd say Middleton and who? Shit, man. Like, it's about 3 best guys on Atlanta, right? Like, I don't know who is technically the number 2 guy on Atlanta. That shit changes any given night.
But I'm saying, like, Middleton and Jrue Holiday are the 2 best outside of them, and you still can't win. We've talked about if you have the 2 best guys on your side, you should be able to win. They got to be about fucking 20 yesterday.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's no excuse for that shit, dog.
None.
When the other team came into the game and a lot of people, myself included, like I told y'all, they said Trae was out. I said, my wife and I have been waiting on a date night since pre-COVID-19, dog. Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know what happens in this.
Bro, but there's no excuse for that. There's no way that's supposed to happen, bro. But it happened. I don't see how they win without Giannis. Bud needs a fucking alien, period. He needs an extraterrestrial to you know what I'm saying, to get dubs. Without Giannis being Giannis, he's no good. We've seen that. You know what I mean? And,
so
it was again last night.
I'll take a Hawks Suns NBA Finals.
I would too.
That sounds fun as fuck after this bullshit.
If Trae's
playoffs.
Healthy. If Trae's healthy.
Definitely need Trae.
And that's, dude, I mean, it's not, it's more than NBA at this point. Because Trae's injury, really, did you see that shit? Like, you're stepping on the ref's foot. Like, that's how we lose a fucking Trae Young in this series.
I'm not a religious dude, bro.
But there is
some,
bro.
like, do we need to sacrifice someone to the basketball guys? Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, what is there like a...
right. Get him the fuck out of here, dog. I volunteer you as tribute, my nigga.
Maybe that's what Ballmer was doing. Maybe that's some sort of a ritual I'm not aware of. I don't know.
Hey, it didn't work.
He who cuppeth the 4 balls.
He who cuppeth the dicketh. We should start calling dicks dickets. Let's lean into that, y'all. I think we just done
Cock Talk Part 2.
Kill me. They killed me on Cock Talk. I can't believe that shit, dog. Oh my God, nigga. They still hit me up randomly, like talking about
cocks.
Nigga. But anyway.
Cock Talk.
Cock Talk, bro.
Cock Talk.
The more I think
with
about
Jethro
it, the weirder it is. You're right.
All right, that's the show. Like I said, we did the Roy Wood Jr. interview that they put out separately. So if you did not listen to that, Roy was fucking. He was
amazing.
He was great. Like,
God damn,
so introspective. I was hitting him up today talking about like I wanted some advice on having a shorty, bro. I'm like DMing him like, yo, I need more of that. You feel me? Like crazy. But
all right, that's our time. We'll be back on Monday. We might have an NBA Finals matchup at that point. We will see. But be sure, as always, to subscribe to all the shit, share all the shit, rate all the shit 5 stars. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.